welcome back. So excited to hear how life has been like since you guys have been home. But let's first start back to what was it like picking up your daughter, and what was it like getting picked up after so long at treatment?
Yeah. Well, since I was a phase 5, I'm an alumni, I got to have a graduation, and I think it was a really good way to end that chapter of my life. I think it was beautiful to reflect on my time there at the ranch, and I got to speak in front of everyone. I got to hear my parents speak in their perspectives. My grandfather came out to be there for me, and my family was there, and it was just like, okay, I know I'm ready to go home, and it feels good to know that I am in a state where I can go home, and I've been waiting for this for so long, and I've been working towards this for a long time, and I was just so excited. I was so happy, and most of all, I was so proud of myself. And I still am proud of myself because I really did come a long way, and I was so happy.
You should be proud of yourself. That is a lot of work, and what a great way to celebrate it, too, especially with your grandpa there.
Yeah.
How about for you, Mom?
It was wonderful to share a graduation, and for her, and I will say all of us reached phase 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We worked
it was a family effort
together, to reach that. And we felt it really important to really put a lid on top of the whole experience, like cap it off with having the graduation. At that time, I wasn't sure how a true high school graduation would work out for her. And this was such a big deal to be away a year, work on these things. And prior to being at the ranch, the therapies, the experience, all the things that have come together to reach this point. So the culmination of that and being able to celebrate her was fantastic. And graduation at the ranch is a one-person thing. It isn't where they'll have many that are ready to graduate in a moment and it's a ceremony for several. It's a ceremony for one. And how fantastic that is because of the work and the focus that she's put into herself deserves to have that attention as a graduation. And there are certain people that are asked to give speeches, and she herself gave a speech, and it was all really awesome. And to have all the siblings of hers and her grandpa there, except one sibling joined remotely because that was the sibling that had just had the baby.
Oh, yes.
So
She was a newborn at that point.
Yes, totally
super
understand.
Newborn, like a couple weeks.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would have been tough to travel.
So
She was a week old, actually.
yeah, she was a week old.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's what it ended up being as a graduation. So it was really high.
So I wanted to backtrack and talk about a few things that helped you guys prepare for this graduation and transition home. What were those things?
Well, when you first go to the ranch, you're really working towards that graduation all the way through.
That's true.
And making through every phase what gets to the end goal. And for us and our family, we felt it was important that Erika had external motivation to continue what she was doing inside the ranch. And we felt our daughter was having a struggle reaching phase 2 of program. And I mean, because of dropping off and just, oh, great, I'm in another program, and getting over that hurdle, like getting over the initial, here's where you are, now let's make some work. We promised her that when she reached phase 2, no matter when it was, that we would come the very next weekend and we would bring her dog with us on the visit. And we kept that promise. And that is what we did all the way through the entire year of things that we could offer that would help her to feel motivated like we celebrated a birthday in a special way. We brought other family members with us, and we did side trips nearby, like overnight for her, in the vicinity of the ranch, but we would be nearby so we could see her several days.
Yeah. I love that. And a lot of times those touch points and visits can be testing grounds to see how do you guys do as a family again. And
they are.
Yeah.
And that's actually built into the program, is to have visit home. When you reach certain phases, you get a visit home. And 2 of those visits were really bad. There were setbacks. There were problems.
Yeah.
There were things uncovered after returning to the ranch. But as much as it's a disappointment, is like, okay, it's a learning opportunity, and what are you going to do with it?
Yeah,
both sides.
It is better. I kind of see it differently than a setback. It's telling and gives you information of where you guys are at and what needs to be worked on to move forward, right? What about you guys started incorporating wraparound services before she transitioned home? What did that look like?
We did. Because of the need for eating recovery to still be part of her life, and stabilizing that outside of the ranch, because she's leaving a community, going back into her former community, which was going to be difficult, knowing there are things that you just feel again when you're back to the place you once came from. And we had a very good rapport with her nutritionist. And early on, I would say 4 months or so before graduation, we started to have the nutritionist become part of the sessions. Mm-hmm. And that helped Erika, but also helped her therapist, who didn't have the skill of the eating recovery. So it helped to enhance that.
Yeah.
And we were very grateful.
And she also knew me pretty well. She knew my journey. I've been seeing her since I was 15.
Okay.
And I was 17 at that point. So she knew my journey to a T.
She knew what you needed, especially around your eating disorder.
Yes, she did. And that's what helped guide my therapist and guide me to continue moving forward.
Were there other things that you did to prepare to come home?
I did a lot. I really prepared mentally, because I knew I was going back to a space that was negative before. That I was like, my room before kind of used to be a toxic place. But now it was, I was trying to get in the mindset of like, that's where I go to bed. That's where I go to hang out when I'm not feeling social, but still like be out of my room. I remember when I came home, I never closed my door. Like that just wasn't a thing for me anymore, because I felt comfortable keeping it open. And also preparing myself that I would not really be having a very intense social life like I had before. I lost a lot of friends, and I severed ties with bad friends that I needed to let go, and also friends that let me go, which is okay. Friends come and go. But preparing for that.
I'd like to touch on that a little bit. With stepping back into a familiar place, but yet it's unknown what it'll be like, and to reach out to friends and want the friendships, but it's not the same on their side anymore, and how to get where, how to handle that, and then grappling with the feelings of loneliness, and then myself from a parent side feeling, I don't want this to pull her back down.
Yeah.
And where is this going to go? And then having those old feelings come back of fear, but they didn't last long. And I attribute that to our open communication and the trust that we built, and to back that up, we had a transition plan.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
The transition plan is something that I learned not every family has done or does that with their therapist. I read a couple of books that I wish I had had access to way before going to Discovery Ranch, but having access to them where there's information that tells you what your child might be experiencing. Like, I'd already been through that. Mm-hmm. But what I gleaned from that was preparation for coming home. And how do you take your past experience, the experiences you've had at the ranch, and you put that together to build the transition plan? So you get a little bit of what that's like when you have the home visits. Like, what is your schedule going to be like? You have to have some regiment to
what
things.
What are the rules?
Yes. Yeah. What are the rules? What are completely non-negotiables? Yeah. What's non-acceptable? What's okay? And then you kind of color code your friends. Who's a green friend? Who's yellow? Who's absolutely red?
Yeah.
And I did use that term a couple times to Erika, like, is that a red friend? And she's like, duh. She was just
I was over the treatment terms,
the treatment
therapy
language,
terms.
right? So I then would change that and say, is that someone you feel safe with? Is that someone you feel you can be okay around with your decisions?
Yeah. There's also a couple times where I would think a friend was a green flag and I would go hang out with them, and then I'd come home and I'd be like, oh, I don't think I'm going to hang out with them anymore. Yeah. I don't really like it.
And this is what trust is. When she would come home and say to me that I'm not going to hang out with, and I didn't ask why. I didn't drill into tell me the reasons.
Yeah.
I'm trusting her that she made the judgment. And if she wanted to share with me, it's her choice to share with me.
Well, it's part of the time where as a parent, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, we got to let you fly out of the nest or swim away, past the coral reef and see how you do. And are you going to make the choice to stay safe and avoid the places you shouldn't go? And that's hard.
It
for
is.
Both of you guys.
And I will also say it's dependent on the age of your child. Mm-hmm. If you've had a child that's seeking treatment and they're 13 and they're coming home at 15, it's different than a child that's 17 and almost ready to graduate and go off to college.
That's true.
And then there is the normal, I'm old enough, I'm 18, I'm going to college, versus, well, we're still getting to know the new way of being together, working things through. Do we really trust each other?
Yeah.
So there's going to be there should be some tests on that. There should be some tests to see if the trust has been built.
That's why home visits are really good. Yeah. I think,
yes.
Testing out the water, see what needs to improve, see what needs to change, like really be open and communicate with that and test the waters.
Yeah. What did it feel like to come back home for you?
It felt really scary, and I was very anxious because I didn't want to mess up, because I knew I had built this trust with my parents, and I was really scared to break it. And I was also fearful of going back to that environment. But also, when I went home, I went to a day program, and that was also really difficult. But as a family, we made the decision that I was in a place where I didn't need to do that day program anymore. Mm-hmm. And that felt good, that they trusted me, that I knew that I was like doing well enough that I didn't need a day program. And I was so happy that they knew I didn't need a day program. And just thinking about that, like, wow, I'm doing so good. And they see that. They see I'm doing good. Like, it's not like in the past, like, Mom and Dad, I'm fine. And they're like, no, you're not. So it was just very different.
It was different because in that day program, it was for eating recovery. It was a different location, and what it was to do is to just make sure she was following good eating and just
staying
making
consistent.
Sure, and solid, like ready to come home. And the program just kept pulling back to treating her that where she had already been passed. They didn't meet her where she was.
That makes sense.
She was,
it was
already
like my first time going to treatment. That's what they kind of
it
treated
was like day one, and we made it clear intake and everything with this program.
Yeah.
And then it took about a week, and then I said, okay, we're going to give this another week. I think it
was 2 weeks total.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks, and then they had a different model there where we could come and share meals together. And it was again, having the experience we had and going there and looking and seeing how things were, and like, this isn't what Erika needs.
Yeah.
And also working with her nutritionist and making that agreement, her talking one-on-one with the nutritionist, building that trust. And we're like, yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, split.
Was it hard to adjust back to home and school life, or how did that go for you?
Yeah, it was difficult. I continued to do online school, and it was hard to adjust because at the ranch, everyday life is so busy. You're on the go. You're always doing something. You're always busy. You're always around people. You never really get time to yourself. You have roommates, and you never have alone time. And going home to where I'm the only kid in the house, and I'm just sitting there in the quiet, and I'm like, this quiet is uncomfortable. Like, why aren't there people screaming? And also not really knowing what to do in my days other than school. So I was bored a lot, but that boredom, like, sparked creativity, and made me try other things, and really, like, tested how well I was doing. And, I was doing well. I stayed consistent, and I didn't fall back into bad behaviors. And it was very difficult. I was sad a lot because I missed having a community that I knew I fit in well with. I didn't really have a community. I did online school. I was home most of the time. But I did have my best friend that I hung out with practically every day. So I had her.
When she was around. Yeah. There were some moments, like there were some times where she was low, and with the trust that we had built, I said to her explicitly, I'm going to be the one that's going to ask you the hard questions. That's the trust we have. So if it looks to me that something is going on, I'm going to ask you. And I remember a specific incident, and we were sitting on the couch, and I did ask a question, and her response to me was a little like defensive. And I said, we agreed, I'm your person, and I'm allowed to ask these questions because of the trust we built. And she paused, and then she answered, she remembered that. So I would say that coming through all of this has really built her resilience, and recognition, like to step back, take a breath, and then address things. Like, this kiddo is the best therapist in our family. And it is pretty funny to hear therapy language. And we can joke about some things that were not so easy to joke about in the past.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, what has changed with your home life or even your family dynamics for better or new challenges?
I definitely hung out with my family more. I was out of my room. I was talking with them. I was collaborating with them. I would cook with them, play games, watch movies. I was just more like, I put more effort into being part of the family.
Yeah, it was refreshing that she mentioned she didn't shut her door. So there's that. I was used to her room being the place to find her, where it no longer was the place to find her. Having the independence to go places without the concern of what she would be doing. And she is a master at card games. Do not even try.
Okay,
do not attempt. Like, she is
That's
so
a
good
perk
at
from
card
treatment.
I bet,
I had nothing better to do.
games. And also, I think there's a newfound appreciation for fun and treats things like that, because those things are mostly removed when you're at the ranch. They're earned.
Yeah.
And so coming home and being able to do things, and sometimes she would look with bright eyes and go, I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. Like, but the transition plan to come home, like, some things that a lot of families will build in is like random testing, or things that were from the past that you want to make sure aren't happening for the future. And although I had in the plan of some things that were more rigid, of like what she would do in a day, when's a wake up time, when's your bedtime, though it's not that the plan fell apart, we found that the plan wasn't what we needed any longer.
Yeah. We made it more flexible. Like, I remember turning in my phone every night for the first few months. And then after a little bit, I'm like, can I start keeping my phone like in my room at night, just so I don't have to turn it in by 10 so I can stay up later, on my phone
and it was just like, I was like, yeah, okay. It was just like
that. That was a surprise. I was like, really?
Yeah. Phones are a big deal.
Yes, they are. Did you have to go through your phone before you came home?
Yeah, you went through your phone with Morgan.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I would say most of the time you do.
Yes.
Yeah, with my therapist, I went through my phone. I cleared out, bad things. I started new, like, social media accounts. I just completely got rid of the old ones. Like Snapchat, you have those memories. And I'm like, I don't really want these. So on my new account, I don't, like, have anything negative that I can look back on. That's what really helped. And also, getting rid of people's numbers or accounts that I didn't want any interaction with at all.
Yeah.
Those red light friends, And
this is where it's honesty. Like, knowing she did that, and I trust that she did that, and I've had some visibility into her phone and things, and it is not out of sync of what she's telling me.
It matches up. Yeah.
Totally.
That's refreshing.
Very.
What tools or habits from Discovery Ranch South have helped you the most?
Well, I definitely learned more about myself and what helps me regulate. And I learned that journaling, reading, and writing, I really love to do, and meditate. I love yoga now.
Me too.
Yeah, yoga's great for you.
Really
It connects the mind and body.
It really does.
I learned that I can just go to my mom for anything and everything. That I think that's my biggest tool of all, is that I got that trust back, and it goes both ways, but
you guys were able to repair that relationship.
Yeah, the relationship was definitely repaired, and I'm really happy about that. What other tools?
I'm happy about that too.
Well, let me ask you, Mom, what work have you continued since you guys have been at Discovery Ranch South?
I think it's about listening and taking in what she's saying to me without already trying to decide what I'm going to say back or control, and trust that, the whole, like when she said trust the process, it's really truly listening, and that's a practiced thing.
Yes.
And I feel not enough people have that practice. And then also just being honest and calling out what I'm seeing and not holding back. And especially now, she is a young adult in college. And just like we talked about, teenagers do what teenagers do, college students do what college students do, and wanting to have freedom in the world to do things, but to do that with some control.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just run off to the mountains or, whenever you want to, sort of thing.
Why not, Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
So a very free spirit who's ready to just explore.
Yes. Well, tell us, where are you at now in life since you've been out of Discovery Ranch South?
Well, my life has definitely gotten a lot more whimsical and blissful. I'm definitely a lot more happy. I have so much passion and for life, and I just have so many goals and so many things I want to do. I'm going to college, trying to figure out that route, wanting to save up and travel and looking at more opportunities, being more social. I've definitely, my social anxiety has gone down since I started college, and that's helpful. I've been like watching my baby niece grow up, and that is such a beautiful thing to witness. I'm so happy, and I think about it every day about how far I've come and how I'm so glad I'm not in that place anymore that I was stuck at for so long. And I'm glad I'm not stuck there anymore, because that is just going to make the rest of my life so much more happier and meaningful and blissful and beautiful. And I can't wait to see where I go.
Yeah, me too. I think you have quite a bright future ahead of you. I'm excited to see where that takes you. How about for you, Mom?
When my daughter hit the 1-year anniversary of her graduation from Discovery Ranch South, I was with her where she's attending college, and I entered her room, and she was laying on the floor. And as you know, we spoke about earlier that some of the saturation feelings of therapy or overwhelming, she would lay on the floor to self-regulate. And when I entered the room, I thought, what's happening? What is happening? And that she needs to do this. And so I was quiet and just stood there for a minute, and her words were, I cannot believe how happy I am. It's a year later and how much I've accomplished. And wow. Such proof that we've been through it. And I could not be more happy.
I love that you guys both shared just how far you've come. And a year later, looking back on just how far your recovery has been and where you're at. And I love that you say you're whimsical and happier now. I'm sure not every day has been happy. I'm sure there's been ups and downs. But
100%.
At the same time, to see how much you both have healed is incredible, and hopefully gives our listeners a lot of hope.
We hope that it does. We felt it really important to share because there is a large lack of understanding of residential care and what that entails. And we didn't know before we went into that situation, and having the success with it and being able to move on in life successfully is a great story to be told. I think what I would like to share is something that you were asking about and what I wish I would have known. And at the beginning, thinking that the despair and lack of hope that I had a friend say to me, there's always hope. And I knew that. It's something I would say to people. But to really feel that and then see that it's true is remarkable.
I love that message of hope. It's hard to see it when you're in trauma, when you're in crisis, and when things feel so dark and so heavy.
It's hard to see it because the darkness blinds you.
Absolutely.
That's right. It's true.
What message do you want to leave with our listeners? Both of you.
I like the jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
Do it again. Let's make sure we get it.
Life is beautiful. Life is worth living. Go with the flow. Jellyfish.
I love it.
I do believe there's always hope, and I would just end with that. And I'm grateful for those that choose to have careers in this industry and how difficult that is, but I'm truly grateful.
Thank you guys. I'm grateful to be able to be a part of a little small part of your story and your journey, and to get to be able to share this with listeners today. And I hope they feel the love and the hope and the healing that you guys have experienced by listening to this. Thank you guys so much again for showing up, for being vulnerable, for being courageous, and sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Jellyfish.
Thank you.
Jellyfish.
As we close out this series, I want to speak directly to the parents listening. If parts of this story felt familiar, if you felt overwhelmed, unsure, or afraid, you are not alone, and you are not failing your child by seeking help. Healing isn't quick or linear, but it is possible when families stay engaged and supported. Residential treatment is not the end of the story. It can be the beginning of a deeper connection, growth, and hope. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for continuing to care for your child and yourself. There is hope, and healing is possible.